former Sixer, now with Comcast Sportsnet pre- and post-game live, Sixers pre- and post-game live, Marc Jackson, and he joins us now on the 97.3 ESPN. What's going on, Marc? Welcome back.
Hey, thank you, fellas. What's going on? Busy day, huh?
Busy day. Tell us, you told us last week about a scenario where you got traded. Were you ever traded on the deadline day?
No. Never was traded on the deadline day. I was always traded before. But I never was traded on a day. But I got traded, though.
But, yes, you have been traded, but I'm sure there have been times where, what is that day like for – hearing your name and teammates around, it's an odd look. We're looking at pictures behind us of Nerlens, shaking hands and kind of, this is where he's been for 3 years of his career. What is it like for these guys who hear their name and are a part of, this deadline day?
At first, it depends on how it's done. Every scenario is different. Some players get common courtesy being called into the office if they're around and say, hey, coach or the general manager wants to speak to you. Other than that, you just don't know. I've been in different scenarios, and I got traded from Minnesota to Philadelphia. I got a call from the conference call. I was in Philly in the summer, and a conference call from the late Flip Saunders and Kevin McHale saying, hey, buddy, we just wanted to let you know we traded you to your hometown. You were part of the deal. He said he wouldn't go through with the trade unless you were in there. So that happened. But then, and the same thing type of thing with when I got traded from the Sixers to the Nets. Billy Hunter called me and was like, hey, unless you're not traded to the and that was out of the blue. I didn't expect to get traded from there, from the Sixers. But, you just kind of, everybody's on pins and needles because you don't know who's going to get traded. And at that time, anyone could get traded from a superstar down to the last man in the rotation.
Well, we saw it today where the Sixers had a pretty high-profile player. He was really the first part of this whole rebuild process, whatever you want to call it, Nerlens Noel. He was drafted 6th. Tough to read, what the impact that he really brought to this organization, but he was sent to Dallas today. Your thoughts on moving Nerlens Noel before we get your take on the actual deal?
Listen, I was kind of like, I had this conversation with a good friend of mine who's also my coworker, Marshall Harris. And I was like, look, man, don't be surprised if both Jahlil and Nerlens get traded. He's like, oh, that's ridiculous. They're not going to trade Nerlens. I said, why wouldn't they? My biggest thing, I was never a true believer that the Sixers were going to try to hold off on Nerlens. I thought they were going to try to trade both or either one to get the best deal for at the time because Nerlens is going to demand a high price tag. And I don't know if he's going to want to accept his role with this organization with the price tag he's getting, only playing 18 minutes a game. And I didn't think that was likely. So I thought it was a good decision for the 76ers to kind of move on from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting one because he does have a skill set, Mark, in today's game. I mean, he protects the rim, he blocks shots, he tips passes, he deflects balls, he gets steals. I mean, it just seemed that the Sixers didn't have the playing time for him, and it's unfortunate because he is a guy, I believe, I don't know if you agree, but he does add value in today's game.
Yes, he does. I think he adds value. He can go. He's one of the few that can go to any team in the NBA because the name of the game is spread the floor, pick and roll, pick and dive type of player, and he is the emphasis of that. So he can go to every team in the NBA association and contribute. Jahlil's a little different. You have to have certain things around him to mostly benefit from his offensive prowess. But, yes, but you have Joel Embiid here, and the kind of minutes that Joel Embiid is going to demand, along with Ben Simmons and with the path that Dario Saric is going into, they just don't have enough time for them. And people saying, oh, he's a great asset. That's very true, but he is going to demand $20 million a year. I don't think $20 million a year is worth for a guy to play 18 minutes a game. And, and I'm a big believer in this, and I get chewed out every time I say this, but I'm a big believer in Richaun Holmes also. I think Richaun Holmes can give you very similar things that Nerlens Noel can, but at a lower price tag.
Mark, I follow your money there, but did the Sixers get enough back for Noel, or should they have tried again to deal in this offseason?
No, it's not guaranteed what you're going to get. See, if you wait to the offseason when he was restricted free agent, then you have to give him an offer sheet. Then a team has to present an offer. You're up in the air with that. Because then, for example, somebody offer him, and, the agents have their hand in a lot of those restricted free agents. So an agent could tell a team, just do me a favor and give my client $100 million knowing that the Sixers have to match it. And some teams likely would have did that. They would have given him $100 million. So now the 76ers, you have two ways to look at it. We're going to overpay this gentleman Noel, and have him back on the roster, and then try to trade and get something for him. But then it's even harder to move him because people know he's not worth $100 million. And then you say, well, somebody give him $100 million, and then you say, look, he's not worth that to play 18 minutes a game for me. Then you let him walk, you get nothing. So I agree with what they got for him now is okay. It's not great, it's not perfect, but they got something back for him when you look at it two different ways. Let him walk in the summer and get nothing, or sign him back for an extremely high price tag for only playing 18 minutes a game. At least get something from him now.
I would imagine that you'd have fans that may come up to you. I mean, when you see the headlines for this deal, though, Mark, and it says, Mavs steal Nerlens Noel from Sixers and savvy trade deadline move. Philly lets one of its big men free. He'll be better off. And then you see the third headline that says, Mavs able to land one of the best young players for an incredibly small price. How do you placate the Sixers fans that are up in arms about, well, what did we get?
I think, you know what? First of all, we are Philadelphia natives, so we're never going to be happy. Let's establish that. So, I don't care if we traded Nerlens for DeMarcus Cousins. We said, DeMarcus got a bad attitude. We shouldn't have did that. So, I don't care what happened. We're never going to be happy. That's just how we are. But the headline's going to make it look bad, but people have to sit back and do the math here. And I just think I just gave it to you plain as day. Like, he's a great young talent. What does he give us? What does he provide us? For the amount of money he's going to demand, he has to be playing some good minutes. And in this organization right now, with the way this thing is set up, we can't give him the minutes he's going to need. So we either have to overpay and have him paying 18 minutes a game and getting $20 million, probably most likely our highest paid player on the roster, and only paying between 12 to 18 minutes a game, or we let him walk free. So, yes, the headlines don't look good, but the decision to get something for him now is better than not getting nothing or overpaying for what he's going to contribute to your team in the future.
So, Mark, they trade Noel, according to reports now, that they have not traded Okafor. If you had to pick one or the other, which guy, if you were Brian Colangelo, would you have tried to move?
Respectfully, I would have tried to move whoever I got the most for, because both of them are totally different players. But both of them are very talented players. Let's not forget that. So I would have wanted to trade whoever I got the most for. So with that trade for Nolan to go down is letting you know that they didn't get nothing better than that for Jahlil. And so Jahlil's now looking at the role of being consistent minutes as the backup, or respectfully when Joel is not playing, getting quality a lot of minutes with Rashawn Holmes coming off the bench. Also, I don't know the situation with Thiago, or if they're going to buy Bogut out. But that's what Jahlil is looking for now. So now, with him getting consistent game in, night in minutes, he can establish himself and earn more value. I don't think when he'll be playing every single game, and we know he's going to play, and he knows he's going to play, I can't see his performance being down like it was in the first three quarters of the season. I see nothing but better coming out of Jahlil Oakfor. And then, going into the offseason, he's still under contract. Let's trade and get something for him. Right. I think right now Jahlil will have a much better 20-something games of the year.
Yeah, that's something I was bringing up in the first hour, Mark, that the light at the end of the tunnel here is, hey, Okafor, you got nobody looking over your shoulder. There's nobody here. Embiid's not playing the next 4 games at least. Apparently, he's not happy either right now. That's one guy you don't want to tick off, but he's not happy with the way the team presented his injuries. Noel's not here anymore. The centers we traded for, they're not playing. Go out there and show the league you're the guy that we drafted and gave all those minutes to last year, and you were productive with them.
No, okay, let's establish something. They didn't give him minutes last year. He earned them minutes, and he did very well with those minutes. So let's not downplay Jahlil Oakfor's performance last season. People say he put those numbers up on a losing team. You know how many people you can put in that same situation that can't put up those numbers? He has a unique skill set, and he's a very good talent in the NBA. So first, this all goes back to Colangelo and the front office and the doctors, how they're handling things. Do they want to tell us the truth on the injuries, that they don't? So now they got Joel Embiid upset because I don't like the way you classify my injuries. So I'm letting you know they wasn't even open with him about everything. You know what I mean? So for him to say that, that's letting you know right there, plain and simple, they weren't transparent with him. So as fans, as the media, how can we expect them to be transparent with us? So let's just keep that in our mind. And it's good that Joel is not good to a point, but in my opinion, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that he speaks up and let his frustrations be known. Like, look, I don't like the way y'all classify my injuries. So they're letting them know as an organization, he's not the one to be playing those games with, and he is your future. So he's letting them know. It's kind of putting them on the dock, like, get it right. You know what I mean? So I actually like it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. That's the one guy you don't want to get on the wrong side of.
Exactly.
Do you then anticipate, Mark, Okafor and Embiid cannot be a long-term tandem, right? I mean, this isn't Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins we're talking about. Those two guys might be able to play together. Embiid and Okafor cannot, right?
Well, first of all, I don't think we should ever look at the future of this team as I'm looking at Joel Embiid and Jahlil Oakfor ever playing together. No, one's a starter, one's a backup. One has a history of injury, and when he's out, the other guy can get to 30 minutes, and we know he can be productive in those 30 minutes, scoring the ball. So they're not necessarily keeping around. And the same thing with Nerlens. Even if they traded Jahlil and had Nerlens, they're not looking to play Nerlens side by side with Jahlil. I mean, them days are gone. That's why they got Dario Saric. That's why they got Ben Simmons whenever he gets healthy. They're not looking at playing Nerlens. They got to try to find minutes for Dario, because we know Joel Embiid's going to play big minutes. We know Ben Simmons is going to play big minutes. And Dario Saric, who's my favorite, is proven night in, night out, hey, I'm not here to sit no bench. So he's probably going to be the first big off the bench. So let's not mistakenly forget about Dario Saric. So them keeping either one of those centers around wasn't to play with Joel. It was to back Joel up and play big minutes when he's not playing.
Marc Jackson with us talking NBA trade deadline and Sixers basketball. So, Mark, a lot of people saying the key to this trade is Justin Anderson. What, if anything, do you know about him?
Athlete, young player, young talent, has potential. We all know the 76ers, and first of all, that potential is not good when that potential is never met. But you know, he has a good ear to the league. People think he has a lot of potential that if you can turn it around for him, can help your team. And he's a future young pick, a future young player, a player that has a future that can help the 76ers in the long run.
Marc Jackson's with us, and Justin Anderson's the guy that got back. Bogut as well. Apparently, they're going to try to buy him out, and then it looks like it's going to turn into 2 picks. You mentioned Dario. Ersan gets traded last night, and I guess that's not a huge surprise. He wasn't part of the long term. They just get something for him, but that really is a sign that they want to open up more minutes for Dario.
Yes, and you know, one thing I will say is that I believe that when they drafted, they traded to get Ersan, it gave Dario more time to take things a little slower. So with that being said, with that happening, and then they do that, so Dario now gets to slow down, don't have to start. He can come off the bench and then kind of get adjust to the league a little in a slower pace. And I think that worked out well. Ersan Ilyasova is having a tremendous year. But to be honest, he's another 4-man. We already talked about Ben Simmons and Dario Saric. He's a good veteran, a good scorer as far as Ersan. He is a good player, even a better and more viable player on a contender. So we knew he was a free agent this summer, and we were not going to sign him back. So once again, as we go again, let's get something for him now while we can.
26 games left in the season, Mark. How do you see the Sixers lineup shaping up on a nightly basis, and how many games do you think they win?
You know, how many games left? 24 or 26?
26.
26.
26. You know, right now with this shuffle, I think this puts them back, to be honest. I think it throws off chemistry, because I think what they had the rotations going, the lineups going, with them losing Nerlens. I really think that throws off the chemistry. I really think they, as far as winning games, are going to take a step backwards and not being as effective as they were early, in the month of January and as of late. So I don't see them winning as many games as I originally planned if they didn't make no trades. But I see by the end of the year now they have to evaluate, more things. Now this gives Rashawn Holmes some time to kind of get in there as that third option, and when Joel Embiid is not in, playing consistent minutes, to maybe earn himself to be saying, look, you can let Jahlil Oakfor go and keep me as a backup for Joel, and let me see what I can do. So this gives him time to develop and give him time to prove his worth But that one thing, like I know the management didn't like it, probably his agent didn't like it, but was for Joel Embiid to speak out like that. I really believe now. At first, in the last couple of days, I was thinking they was going to shelve him for the season, along with Ben. Now, with him speaking out, that's them letting him know he's not going to go for that. So if he speaks out now, he's probably going to speak out more if they try to sit him out. So I see Joel coming back. I see Joel getting his groove back, playing some games. I don't know how many, but he's definitely going to play. Now with him speaking out, they got to play him.
Yeah, it's
they
weird.
Can't sit him now.
It's weird because
frustrated.
He seemingly was like he wanted to try to play tomorrow night, and they're like, though the doctors are saying you need to at least sit 2, now 2 has turned into 4. It seems that if he had it his way, he would play, and they're telling him no. So the transparency, I guess, does look bad for Colangelo, who has really had a tough couple of weeks here. I mean, the Embiid thing, the whole Okafor sitting. Now he can't even trade Okafor. I mean, you were bench. You didn't even travel with the team, and then you don't even get traded. Then the trade he makes today. I mean, it just Colangelo is having a bad couple of weeks here.
Yes, he is, and this situation is not making it any better. It's not. It's not making it any better whatsoever. So, for the 76ers fans, I think it's great. It's great that Joel Embiid spoke out because then, the front office will only go so far as a player will let them. So if your franchise, your player who's been putting in work for you this year is letting you know he's frustrated, and you might not have told him the plan pretty much. We're gonna probably try to sit him out for the remainder of the season. Now that he's coming out and let you know he doesn't like what you're doing, that's for the 76ers or fans. That's great. Because that's letting them know, they put him on notice, like, look, I'm not going for this no more. So let's turn this around. So now with him doing that, expect him to play. So, it's not good now. It's kind of throwing up some P's and Q's in the organization where they don't know what's going to happen now. People kind of on pins and needles like, look, I don't like it. I like when you classify me. People think I'm fragile. So it's not good for Colangelo, but it's great for the fans.
Right, and it also makes it look like, okay, so you traded Noel, you're trying to trade Okafor, so you must have all this faith that Embiid is going to be healthy enough to play, but he can't get on the floor.
Yeah, that too. But I respectfully believe that with that being said, that they're kind of looking at it, it's a win-win for them. If they sit Joel, then they lose more games. So then they get a better draft pick. I hate to say that, but I believe that's how they're looking at it.
Well, this opens up minutes for Holmes, right?
Oh yeah, yes it does. It opens up minutes for Holmes to prove himself, and I think when Holmes is in it, he's very effective.
Yeah,
he does little things like Noel and Nerlens. He's an offensive rebound, high motor. He has a much better jump shot. So I think that opens up times for him. So he has to get out there and prove himself and let them know that hey, I can be a valuable backup to the great Jahlil Embiid.
Hey, Mark, I don't know what your opinion really was of what Hinkie did. Whether you were a proponent of it, hated it, didn't, move you one way or the other. That being said, you trade Noel, you tried to move Okafor. People say, well, you tanked for all these players, and now you're trying to move these players. So you look back at the last couple of years, were they worth it if you were saying – the whole point was to get these high draft choices, and now you're trying to get rid of them?
Yeah, first of all, I didn't like it because I'm a competitor. But with that being said, I can't say what was in Hickey's mind. He might have think he accomplished what he did. At least we had a gentleman last year that had 17 and 7, and that being Jahlil. This year we have a guy who we had to wait on for 2 years that had proven himself to be a dominant player in this league. So with those 2 out of 3, I have to say yes, it was a good move. But as a competitor, I did not like it whatsoever, and I got to be honest there. So is it worth it? We got Joel Embiid, and if we had to do it all over and we knew we were going to get Joel Embiid, I would say go for it. I hate to say it, but I would.
Yeah, and you got Ben Simmons, which you can't definitively give an answer, but I think people feel pretty good about him as well.
I can't give an answer because he hasn't played yet. Yeah, I'm kind of like shaking my head like, he hasn't played yet, so I'm kind of like, what's going to happen with him? So he hasn't did that yet, so I'm kind of arms up in the air, like I just don't know. We know what he's proven to us.
Right.
His senior year in high school and what he did at LSU, what he can do for a team. We know he's a great talent, but it's yet to see how far that talent can go until he steps foot on the court.
When we're going to see Marc Jackson back on the television? I saw you yesterday. You're looking trim, Mark.
Yeah, I'm trying to lose weight. I got 3 kids, that play me one-on-one, and they talk a lot of trash.
That was a nice sport. That was a nice sport coat you were rocking yesterday too.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I just flew in town to come support Roman Catholic High School, in the final, for the Catholic League, and took an L to Newland, but we get him back.
All right,
so I'll be back in town in the middle of March.
Okay,
March 26th to be exact, end of March.
And what do you think, Mark? This movie about the Sixers is now called The Never-Ending Process. Is that what it is? Not the process; it's the never-ending process.
Yeah, it's not a good one. It's not a good title, but hopefully, the main theme we would like, which means this organization turns around for the better and become a great organization, not just now in the near future, for years to come.
All right, Marc Jackson, everybody. You'll see him on Sixers pre- and post-game live in March, and then, of course, you'll hear him on Thursdays when we talk Sixers. The final 26. It should be very interesting to which way those games go. Marc, thanks for your time, pal.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Great talking to you guys.